This visualization represents how we interact with most AI today. We ask a quick question, it writes a short email, or a snippet of code. It's rapid, highly responsive, and intentionally shallow. But that system breaks down the moment you ask it to write a 100-page technical manual or architect an entire codebase. As the text piles up, the AI's context window, its short-term working memory, gets crowded. The model starts hallucinating facts. It forgets the overarching instructions you gave it on page 1 because it is entirely distracted by the text on page 50. Writing at length requires two things that standard chat interfaces lack: rigid memory management and absolute uninterrupted focus. Enter NewAgent. It is an engineered authoring environment designed specifically for long-form, autonomous work, styled in a distraction-free, terminal-based aesthetic of stark black and brand red. To get an AI to actually author something substantial, you have to stop relying solely on its conversational abilities and give it structural focus tools. When a human writes a book, they don't start guessing the next word on page 1. They build an outline. NewAgent mimics this human process through its job creation system. Watch how NewAgent formats tasks. It doesn't rely on unstructured text. Instead, it snaps the work into strict BE-JSON checklists, a highly structured data format. As the system works, it checks off items sequentially, routing from completed to pending tasks without hallucinating the next step. A standard language model calculates the highest probability next word. This system follows rigid, rules-based constraints to guarantee the next workflow step. By imposing structured planning onto the model, a single, simple user prompt gets converted into an autonomous, executable roadmap. Think about trying to write a complex research paper with 50 browser tabs open. Eventually, the noise bleeds into your concentration. AI suffers from the same context bleed during long, multi-turn sessions. NewAgent uses job-scoped amnesia. The /amnesia command wipes general memory, compressing chats into a recap block, leaving a blank slate. Operating in total isolation, it executes the job. Then /rebirth retrieves the recap, seamlessly merging the newly authored work back into the pre-job timeline. This intentional programmatic forgetting allows the intelligent system to execute deep work without any risk of context contamination. With that focus secured, the system steps completely outside the chat window by provisioning its own command line extraction tools. The agent autonomously navigates through local environments, scanning through files and directories to pull the exact research data it needs at high speed. This graphic shows the final result of that extraction. On the left, the agent's internal terminal runs the code. On the right, it synthesizes the gathered research into massive, structured final products, like a multi-chapter book on the BJSON format. The model is actively architecting, researching, and drafting dense technical literature entirely on its own. We are moving past the era of treating AI strictly as a prompt and response chatbot. The relationship is shifting to an assign and review model. You take on a managerial role, assigning goals, while digital workers handle the detailed execution. By combining episodic memory, strict BJSON checklists, and intentional, job-scoped amnesia, NewAgent implements this managerial structure directly into the software today. The next leap in artificial intelligence relies on engineering superior architectural tooling around the models we already have, rather than waiting for larger models to solve focus problems on their own. These specific memory and scoping constraints provide a definitive blueprint for executing autonomous digital labor.